Good morning, students.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay,
Good
Good morning,
morning.
ma'am.
very good morning. Today's topic is mineral metabolism, right? It has been already started. Do you remember? It has been started last 2 months before only. Introduction to mineral. Do you remember any points? What are minerals? Yes. Which mineral is covered? Anyone remembers?
Iron.
Iron.
Iron, correct. So, yes. So, what are minerals? Yes. We'll study next mineral, but before that, you should know what are minerals. Then and then only you will understand it. Is it not? Whether they are organic or inorganic?
Inorganic substance.
Yes, inorganic elements which are required for the body for various functions. Though we club them together as mineral, but it will have a difference in their functions, vast differences. They carry out variety of different functions as well as again they are present in various different concentration. They are not fixed that only this much is required, right? So they are inorganic elements and depending upon its requirement, they are grouped into two major classes. One is called as macro minerals and another one is called as micro minerals. Right? So the major elements are grouped as macro minerals. Why? Because they are required in large quantity. Large quantity means more than 100 milligram per day. That's why the name is given as macro minerals. While as the elements which are required in less quantity as compared to the micro minerals, that is less than 100 milligram per day, those are called as micro minerals. So what are minerals? Yes, minerals are inorganic elements which are required to carry out various biological functions and depending upon the requirement they are grouped as macro minerals which are required more than 100 milligram per day and the micro minerals which are required less than 100 milligram per day. Clear? Okay. Now these minerals are macrominerals: calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sulfur, sodium, potassium, chloride. Among these, sodium, potassium, chloride we study separately as electrolyte, right? So under the chapter of water and electrolyte balance. So under macro minerals we'll study calcium, phosphorus, magnesium and sulfur. Only four under this chapter. You will study separately sodium, potassium and chloride as electrolyte balance. Clear? And the micro minerals such as iron, iodine, copper, manganese, selenium, zinc, cobalt, fluoride, chromium and molybdenum. Among these, iron is already covered, so rest micro minerals will study further, right? So other than this, that is macro minerals and micro minerals, certain trace elements which doesn't have exact function but still they are required. Few minerals are not at all essential but still they are seen in tissues. Few elements which enter in our body through the diet or certain drugs or foreign chemicals and those are toxic to the body, so they should be avoided, they should not be taken. So in that way, which are those elements? Such as nickel, bromine, lithium, barium. Its exact function is not known. Still, they are required in very less quantity or negligible quantity. Few minerals they are seen in tissues which are not essential, such as silver, gold, aluminium, boron, bismuth, rubidium, and few elements which are toxic, such as lead, cadmium, and mercury. Right? So this is the rough classification of the minerals which we are going to study under the chapter mineral metabolism. So though we say that more than 100 milligram, if you compare calcium and sulfur, again its requirement is different, right? 2% of the body's calcium is of 2% of the body's mineral composition is mainly of calcium, while as sulfur or the boron and all, its or cobalt, its concentration will be in point something percent, that much less. So in that way, it will differ. It will differ in its concentration, as well as it will differ in its requirement, and along with that it will carry out different functions. So that's why we will study different elements one by one. So first of all, we'll start with calcium. This is the major important element present in the body. Again, as per the exam point of view, also this topic is very much important, or this element is very much important as per exam point of view, right? So we'll study the calcium element under its major concentration, or where it occurs, in which form it occurs, what are the sources, how much it is required daily, that is recommended daily allowance, how its absorption takes place, what are the functions of calcium, which factors regulate the blood calcium level, before that what is the normal serum calcium level and how it is regulated, and what are the deficiency manifestations. Under these different headings, we'll cover calcium, right? So it is most abundant mineral, as I told, 2% of body's inorganic composition. Inorganic composition. So 2% of inorganic composition is of calcium, and rest of all will be of different. So adult human body contains about 1 to 1.5. Make it as 0.5, not the comma. Please correct it. So 1.5 kg of calcium, it is present in the body, and of this, of 1 to 1.5 kg, 99% is mainly present in bone and teeth. 99% of total body's calcium is present in bones and teeth. So in which form it is present? Mainly in combination with phosphorus, that is as hydroxyapatite. As hydroxyapatite. And about 1% of the body's calcium is mainly present in the skeletal tissue, that is soft tissue, as well as in extracellular fluid, right? So calcium is the most abundant mineral, and which is present about 1 to 1.5 kg in the body. Of its, 99% is present in bone and teeth as hydroxyapatite, and 1% is present in soft tissue and in extracellular fluid. So which is present in extracellular fluid mainly helps in the exchange of the ions. So what are the dietary sources? Obviously all of you are aware that milk and milk products, that is dairy products, they are rich in calcium. So cheese, paneer, curd, milk, these are all rich sources of calcium. Other than that, in cereals also it is present, in legumes, nuts and vegetables in little concentration. But the major concentration of calcium is present in milk and milk products. What is the recommended daily allowance? So though I have written 800, it varies again. So we can take it as 500 to 800 milligram per day. That is required for adult person. In pregnancy and lactation, it is required about 1200 to 1500 milligram per day, and in children it is required 1200 milligram per day. So on an average 1200 milligram per day, and in infants about 300 to 500 milligram per day. So this is the daily requirement of the calcium, but it is required in more amount because it carries mainly involved in mineralization, that is formation of bones, and which is very much important. Other than that, its excretion is also in more amount. So to fulfill the balance or to maintain the balance of the calcium, daily intake should be also more. And again, in growing age, again it is required more. And again, as the age, that is after 50 also, decalcification takes place. That's why its requirement is also more after the age of the 50, right? How it is absorbed, where it is absorbed, which factors affect the absorption, that we'll see under absorption. So calcium is mainly absorbed in the small intestine. It is mainly absorbed in the small intestine. Which factors affect the absorption? Few factors stimulate or enhances the calcium absorption, while as the few factors which inhibits or decreases the absorption of calcium. Which are those? We'll see one by one. Vitamin D, that is the calcitriol, it mainly stimulates the absorption of the calcium from intestine by inducing the synthesis of calcium binding protein, that is, anyone knows calcium binding protein? Yes, calbindin, right? So which is necessary for the absorption of the calcium from intestine, right? Then parathyroid hormone, it stimulates the calcium absorption indirectly via activating the vitamin D. Then acidic pH, this will favor the absorption of the calcium. How? That is the acid mainly, which is acid is present is citric acid, lactic acid, pyruvic acid. What they will do? They will form the calcium salts into its soluble form, right? So as they are soluble, get soluble, they will be absorbed more rapidly. And these acid, what they will do, they solubilize the calcium salt so that it will be absorbed rapidly. High protein diet, these proteins, they are made up of amino acids. So few amino acids such as lysine and arginine, which are derived from hydrolysis of the dietary proteins, they increases calcium absorption, while as lactose also increases calcium absorption. So in that way, these are the factors which enhances or stimulate the calcium absorption. Which are those? Vitamin D, parathyroid hormone, acidic pH, amino acids such as lysine, arginine, and lactose. They stimulate the calcium absorption. Now we'll see which factors inhibit or decreases the calcium absorption. Phytates and oxalates. Phytates, they are present in many cereals, and oxalates, which are present in green leafy vegetables. So this phytates and oxalates, they decreases the absorption of the calcium by forming the precipitate of this calcium, right, in the form of calcium phosphate. So as that precipitate is formed, it will inhibit its absorption. High fat diet decreases the absorption of the calcium. That's why if you see in the malabsorption syndrome condition, this fat will not be absorbed, and in that way it will inhibit. Along with that, these fatty acids, they include phosphate also, that is phospholipids, which we take through the diet. So this phosphate will also decrease the absorption. That's why the calcium phosphorus ratio is very much important. It should be maintained as 1.2 to 2.1. So in that way, it's 1 is to 2 is to 2 is to 1. In that ratio, calcium phosphorus is required for absorption of the calcium, and then only calcium will be absorbed. That is the optimum range for absorption of the calcium. Then high fiber diet decreases the absorption of the calcium from intestine. So in that way, we have to think about these factors which stimulates or increases and which inhibits, which I have written as a descriptive matter. You can write in this way so that you can remember, and during examination before going for the examination, at a glance at least you can write the points and you can score the marks. As well as if time is less, if you write this much also, teacher will come to know that you have understood, but because of time shortage you are represented, or else it can be a schematic representation which will explain better depending upon the marks. If it is for less marks, you can write in a tabular form. If it is for more marks, you can write in descriptive matter. So that's why I have mentioned once again, as well as revision, which factors stimulates the calcium absorption and which factors inhibits the calcium absorption. Then excretion of the calcium is partly through the kidneys and mainly by the small intestine through feces. So about 400 milligram of this calcium can be excreted in the feces, while as around 100 milligram it can be excreted in the urine, and very less amount of this calcium can be also excreted through sweat. So this is the excretory form of the calcium, or excretory concentration of the calcium through different forms. Now, what are the functions of calcium? As I told, calcium is very much important mineral present in the body, which carries out varieties of functions. We'll see one by one. Again, like that, as I told, absorption, which I have mentioned it as a tabular form, you can just mention in one line formation of bone and teeth, and second one is that blood coagulation. But whenever it will be a long essay question, you need to explain it. So one by one, there are many more functions. We'll see one by one. So the first function is formation of bone and teeth. So 99% of the body's calcium is present in bone and teeth. So what is the function of this calcium in bone and teeth is it will provide hardness and rigidity. How? It will form the hydroxyapatite calcium along with phosphorus. It will form the hydroxyapatite crystal, and these are mainly responsible to provide hardness as well as rigidity to bone and teeth. So this is the first important function, that is formation of bone and teeth. Next function is blood coagulation. Calcium present in platelets involved in blood coagulation. There are series of reactions which are involved in blood coagulation actually, and those many more reactions, they require calcium to carry out the enzymatic activity, and so that the blood coagulation takes place. That what we call is blood cascade, right? So conversion of inactive protein, that is prothrombin, into its active form, that is thrombin. So prothrombin to thrombin mainly requires the calcium ions. Other than that, various enzymes which are involved in blood coagulation, they require calcium for its activity, as well as the factors involved in blood coagulation. Factor 1 to 10 are there, which requires calcium for its activity. So blood coagulation, series of reaction requires calcium. Third function is muscle contraction. So it is initiated by the factor, by the protein which is called as troponin. So troponin requires calcium to carry out the contraction of the muscle. So that is initiated by binding of calcium to troponin. Other than that, the enzymes such as ATPase, which is involved to carry out the contraction and relaxation of muscle, which is taken place by the proteins such as actin and myosin. So interaction of this actin and myosin, they requires the enzyme ATPase, and this ATPase requires calcium for its activity. So in that way, it is involved in contraction of the muscle. Release of the hormones. So certain hormones like parathyroid hormone and calcitonin, they require calcium ions for to carry out the hormone activity, or mechanism of action of these hormones. They require calcium such as parathyroid hormone and calcitonin. Then release of neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters mainly involved in the neurons, which are mainly involved in messaging action, right? They act as a messengers. So influx of calcium from extracellular space into neurons, that causes release of neurotransmitter, and thus they are involved to carry out the messages. So thus it acts as a messenger. Then regulation of enzyme activity, there are many enzymes which requires calcium as a cofactor to carry out different reactions. So lipase, which is required in digestion of the lipids, that enzyme requires calcium as a cofactor. ATPase, as I told, which is involved in interaction of the actin and myosin, which is involved in muscle contraction, that requires calcium. Then succinate dehydrogenase, which is involved in TCA cycle, right? So that enzyme also requires calcium. So many more enzymes which requires calcium as cofactor, and thus regulation of enzyme activity is carried out with the help of calcium ions. Then in action of the hormones, this it act as a messenger, and second messenger as well as the tertiary messenger. So secondary messenger, mainly the enzymes involved in glycogen metabolism, mainly epinephrine and glucagon, they are involved in glycogen metabolism. So regulation of glycogen metabolism, it requires epinephrine and glucagon. So these enzymes require calcium ions. Similarly, certain hormones such as antidiuretic hormone, ADH, antidiuretic hormone, for it acts as a tertiary messenger. So as a tertiary messenger, calcium is required for action of antidiuretic hormone. Next is contact inhibition. It is involved in cell-to-cell contact and adhesion of cells in a tissue. Cell-to-cell contact. There are n number of cells which are involved in various metabolic activities, and again the cell-to-cell communication also. For communication of cell-to-cell also, as well as cell-to-cell contact and adhesion, calcium ions are necessary. Then next is cardiac activity, that is myocardial contractility increases with increased calcium ion contraction, and decreases with decreased calcium ion concentration, right? So with increased calcium ion, myocardial contractility increases, while as the calcium decreases, calcium concentration decreases, myocardial contractility also decreases. So in this way it is involved in cardiac function. Then next is maintenance of membrane integrity and permeability. So if you see the cell membrane structure, it needs the exchange of ions also as well as water also. So thus the cell gets its food and water, and to maintain that membrane permeability and integrity, calcium ion is necessary, and thus it provides the food, water, electrolyte and different ions. So these are all different functions of calcium. Which are those? Formation of bone and teeth, right? So in the form of hydroxyapatite, then blood coagulation, a series of coagulation reaction, that is conversion of prothrombin to thrombin, then contraction of the muscle, that is troponin, which is the protein it needs, its binding to the muscle with the help of this calcium. Then ATPase, which is involved in interaction between the actin and myosin. For its activity, it requires calcium. Release of hormones like parathyroid hormone and calcitonin. As a neuro influx of calcium from extracellular space into neurons, and which releases neurotransmitter, so which is involved in transduction, then regulation of the enzyme activity, different enzymes such as lipase, ATPase, succinate dehydrogenase, which requires enzyme calcium. Then intracellular messenger as a secondary messenger, along with this cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP is one of the best secondary messenger. Along with this cyclic AMP, it requires calcium ion. So mainly the hormones such as epinephrine and glucagon, which is involved in glycogen metabolism, and the antidiuretic hormone, which act as a tertiary messenger, and does it act as a intracellular messenger. Then contact inhibition, cell to cell contact and adhesion of the cells along with the cell communication, calcium is involved. Then cardiac activity, myocardial contractility increase calcium ion concentration, and decreases with decreased calcium ion concentration. The next function is maintenance of membrane integrity and permeability. So these are the major functions of calcium. Usually the question will be asked as functions of calcium as a short note question. This is common question. Other than that, during Viva also this question can be asked. Even practical, you will have a serum calcium estimation. There also you have to focus on the functions of calcium, because the clinical interpretation or clinical significance or deficiency manifestations which you need to focus is mainly dependent on these functions. So this is the one of the important question which is commonly asked in all examinations, as well as even MCQ questions. If you go through, you will find one or two MCQs on this calcium. Now we have seen where it occurs, that is in bone and teeth. Then next, so what are the sources? Then next RDA. Then next absorption, which factors stimulate, which factors inhibit, and the functions. Now next part is concentration of this calcium in plasma or serum. So the plasma calcium concentration in normal individual is approximately 9 to 11 milligram percent. It is 9 to 11 milligram percent, or if we perform it by different method, it will be 2 to 3 milli equivalents per liter. So these are the two units by which we can explain the plasma calcium level. This calcium, it is present in different forms. Usually we glucose, urea, creatinine, it will be in one form. But this calcium, it is present in three different forms. One is free form, another one is bound calcium, and the third one is the complex calcium, right? Free form, bound form, and complex form. Free, it is also called as unbound form or ionic calcium. It is present in blood. 50% of the plasma calcium is free form. 50% of the plasma calcium is free form. So totally 9 to 11 it will be a total calcium. 9 to 11 it will be a total calcium, and of this 50% will be the free form, which is unbound or ionic form, and it is functionally the most active form. Second, 40% of this plasma calcium, it is bound. Means it is bounded with what? It is bounded with albumin. We have seen the functions of albumin, right? So it acts as a transporter. So it helps in transport of different substances. So how it is transported? With binding of certain elements. For example, even we have seen with bile, then now we are seeing with calcium. So 50% of the plasma calcium is bounded with albumin, and in that way it is transported and it helps in carrying out different functions. Then the third form is the complex form. 10% of the plasma calcium is in the complex form. 10% of plasma calcium is in complex form, that is with anions such as bicarbonate ions as well as the phosphate ions, with lactic acid and with citric acid. Right? So as it is complex with this also, it will have a different function. So as I told, acidity, lactic acid, citric acid, in that way this acidity, it will favor the absorption of the calcium, so that various functions will be carried out, and in that way it is also important. So plasma calcium concentration or the serum calcium level in the blood is 9 to 11 milligram per deciliter or 2 to 3 milliequivalents per liter. Of this, 50% of calcium is in free form or ionic form. Then 40% of this calcium is in bound form, bounded with the albumin, and 10% of this calcium is present as a complex form with different components such as bicarbonate ions, phosphate ions, lactic acid and citric acid. Now, if you see here with the structure I have explained, this is the free form calcium ions, which is mainly present as a 50%. Then bounded calcium is of 40%, which is bounded with the protein, that is albumin, and 10% will be the 10% will be the complex form. 10% will be the complex form. Complex with bicarbonate ions, phosphate ions, citric acid and lactic acid, etc. So in that way, this will be the total calcium. But we cannot bifurcate that it will be 40, it will be the in the interconvertible stage, and in that way there will be the equilibrium condition, so that overall body's calcium level will be maintained within normal limits. It will be maintained within normal limits. So it will not be that only 40 always will be bound and 50 as free and 10 as it is approximately, and as it is interconvertible, so overall body's calcium will be maintained within normal limits, that is 9 to 11 milligram per deciliter, and in that way it will be maintained and carried out various biochemical as well as physiological functions. Okay, this is about the calcium present in our body. Then how this plasma calcium level is regulated? We usually ask the question as explain the homeostasis of calcium. Homeostasis of calcium metabolism. So in that, any question, query, students? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So this, how it will be maintained, as I have shown that 50, 40, 10, but overall 9 to 11. For that purpose, various organs as well as the hormones, they play important role to maintain the plasma calcium level within normal limits, that is in 9 to 11 milligram per deciliter, and that is called as homeostasis of calcium metabolism. Which are those organs? Bone, kidney and intestine. So parathyroid hormone, which vitamin D hormone and the calcitriol, because all of you know that it acts as a hormone. So calcitriol and then calcitonin. So these are the different hormones which carry out different mechanisms, that is calcification, decalcification, excretion, mineralization. So these all will be carried out with different hormones which are present in bone, kidney and intestine, and thus total plasma calcium level is maintained within normal limits, and this is called as a homeostasis of calcium metabolism. But it cannot be completed or covered in 10 minutes. So regulation in detail how these organs are involved and carry out, that we'll see in next class. So before that we'll summarize. Yes, what we have seen, there are different minerals present in the body. Which are those? Students, you can unmute yourself so that I need response from you. Yes. What are minerals? Unmute yourself. What we have covered today?
Inorganic substances required for the normal functioning of the body.
Yes, exactly correct. The inorganic substances are mainly the elements which are present in the body, which are required to carry out various biochemical functions. Again, they are required as well as they are present in the body in very less quantity, but still its concentration varies, right? Vast difference is there in the concentration as well as requirement of these elements in the body. Then next, they are divided mainly as
Micro and macro.
yes, only one student is there, all of them are logged out or slept. Yes, all of you should
No,
respond.
ma'am, we are here.
Yes, you should respond. Good. So they are divided as
Micro and macro.
macro minerals and micro minerals. Which are the macro one?
More than 100 milligrams required.
Which are required more than 100 milligram per day. For example,
Calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, chlorine, sulfur.
exactly correct. And the micro minerals,
Ma'am, which are required less than
100 milligram per deciliter. Sorry, 100 milligram per day. So this is daily requirement and not the blood concentration. So they are required less than 100 milligram per day. Examples?
Iron, copper, zinc, manganese, iodine,
Yes. Cobalt.
cobalt,
selenium,
chlorine,
Mercury.
selenium,
cobalt,
chromium, molybdenum, zinc.
Exactly.
fluorine.
Yes, exactly correct. Then we'll see one by one. Again, minor groups are also there, which are not essential, which function is not known, and which are toxic to the body. So they should be avoided. So those are we will not see in detail, but you should know that these are the elements, or sometimes they are taken through the diet, but they should be excreted, which are harmful. They are taken or along with the drugs, that should be also excreted, right? And few of them, they are formed and its exact function is not known, right? Then next one is, we have started with the first element, that is calcium, right? About 2% of the body's inorganic composition, that is minerals, right? So 2% of the total minerals, it is calcium, right? And of this 99% is present in bone and teeth, while as 1% is present in soft tissues like skeletal tissues and in extracellular fluid, right? So this is about its occurrence. What are the sources? Very simple to remember. Yes.
Milk and milk
Dietary
products.
sources includes milk and milk products.
Exactly correct. Other than that, small quantity it will be present in cereals, nuts, and vegetables also, right? As oxalate, you might have seen in spinach, right? Then next one, daily requirement, that is RDA.
800
800
milligrams
milligrams
per
of
day.
day in men and women adults.
Yes, in children it is different, in adults it is different, in pregnancy and lactation, in infants after the age of 50, right? So overall 300 to 500 milligram per day is required for infants, right? Then in children 1200 to 1500 milligram per day, pregnancy and lactation 1500 milligram per day, while as in adults 500 to 800 milligram per day. That is daily requirement or recommended dietary allowance. Then next, daily requirement and recommended dietary allowance, slight variation. How you can explain? Anyone? Recommended, because it should be more than daily requirement or less. Recommended dietary allowance, it should be more than daily requirement. Are you getting? Why? Why it recommended should be more? Because all the taken quantity it will not be absorbed, right? So it will be excreted. That's why it should be more. Okay, then next, after RDA, what is the next question? Absorption. Which organ plays important role in absorption of calcium? Yes,
Duodenum and kidney, ma'am.
absorption, mainly the small intestine, that is duodenal part and small intestine. It plays important role in absorption. Which factors stimulate the calcium absorption and which factors inhibit the calcium absorption? Yes. You can.
Acidity, lactose, lysine
Correct.
and arginine,
Yes, correct.
vitamin D promote CA absorption.
Yes. Vitamin D, that is calcitol, then parathyroid hormone, they promotes the calcium absorption. Along with that acidity, it will favor, right? Then again, amino acids which are present in the protein. So high protein diet, these amino acids will be more, so more calcium absorption. Then next one, lactose, right? Then next, which factors inhibits or decreases the calcium absorption?
High amount of dietary fiber, alkaline condition,
Yes, along with that, phytates.
oxalates.
Yes. So this question is also important, routinely asked as name the factors which affect the calcium absorption. So in that you have to write both which stimulates and which inhibits. Okay. After absorption, next one is functions, right? So you have to explain the functions one by one. First function is most common and important, which you have to write for phosphorus also, that is
Formation of bone and teeth.
formation and development of bone and teeth. That is the first function as hydroxyapatite. Second,
Blood coagulation.
blood coagulation, series of blood coagulation reaction requires calcium. Third one,
Muscle contraction,
yes, contraction of the muscles, that is for binding of this troponin. And next one is the ATPase enzyme for activity of this actin and myosin interaction. Next,
intracellular messenger,
it acts as an intracellular messenger that is it act as a secondary messenger for different hormone, that is glucagon and epinephrine, which are involved in glycogen metabolism mainly, and also other metabolism, so that it will maintain the blood glucose level constant. Next, tertiary messengers such as antidiuretic hormone act as a tertiary messenger. Next,
Cardiac activity.
pardon please.
Cardiac activity.
Cardiac activity, exactly correct. Next,
Release of hormones.
yes, release of hormones, exactly correct. Next, which other hormone
Fecundation.
you know it will have other mineral, any other hormone which will have other mineral, can you explain? Or some protein it will have some mineral which you already studied. Name the protein which contains the mineral. Name the vitamin which contains the mineral. Anyone? Yes. Do you remember the protein which is composed of one mineral, not the calcium? No answer? You are not studied hemoglobin? Yes. What is the structure
Yes.
of hemoglobin? Which ion is there? Which element is there? Which inorganic ion is there?
Ion.
Iron.
Iron.
So which vitamin it will contain, any mineral? Can you give?
Ma'am, cobalt and vitamin uh, constituent of vitamin B12 is cobalt.
Yes, exactly correct. So the hormone again which requires different mineral other than this calcium today we have seen. Other than that, can you explain or answer any hormone which requires the mineral other than calcium?
ALA synthase requires zinc.
But I am asking hormone. That is correct. Enzymes also require the calcium. Sorry, the enzymes require different ions such as kinases. It requires magnesium, like that. Enzymes is also correct. But I have asked about hormone. Insulin. Remember or
Ma'am,
no?
iodine for thyroxine.
Yes, exactly correct. So in that way, different hormones also, all of you are getting the points collected, right? Very nice. So study accordingly like this only, then and then only you can correlate all the topics and you can integrate it properly and you can put it. Okay. So this is all about the different functions, again excitability, membrane permeability, cell contact, cell adhesion, cell communication, right? So these are the various functions of the calcium. Then next part is serum calcium level. It is 9 to 11 milligram per deciliter. Again the calcium present in the blood is in different form. Which are those forms? Yes. Free form, it is also called as ionic calcium. It is about 50%.
Bound to albumin.
Yes, bound is 40% and complex one is 10%. And its equilibrium will be maintained so that the total calcium level in the blood should be maintained within 9 to 11 milligram per deciliter, and that is carried out with the help of these three different organs, plays major important role with the action of different hormones such as parathyroid hormone, calcitriol and calcitonin. how it maintains, that is calcium homeostasis, we'll see in next class. Okay, hope everything, all the points are clear. Why I have revised this topic is very much important and the major element, and which will be asked in examination many times. Clear? So all of you prepare with this in these different organs, how it plays important role, so that we can understand it better in next class. Okay? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll stop here today, and the next part about this calcium and phosphorus we'll see in next class. Okay? Thank you. Any doubts?
Thank you, ma'am.
Any doubts? Anyone? Only 4-5 students are answering, rest others also. Unless and until you respond, you will not feel interest, as well as you will not recall it. If you try to answer, you can recall it properly in examination. Okay? So I need more responses in next class. Clear? No
Yes, ma'am.
doubts regarding today's topic? Okay, thank you. You can log out. Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.